What's good, Panther Nation? It's your boy, Myron McRae, a.k.a. Tornado McRae, across the skies of the internet, here with another episode of Panther Pride TV. Your one-stop shop for all your Panther notifications and Panther obligations. And happy Tuesday to all you Panther Nation. Hope y'all are having a great day. Hope you're having a smooth day. Hope everything is going the way you want it to. And guys, we're going to get into today's docket. Just a few things that are on my list. Still a little bit of residuals from this weekend's game, but also moving forward into this upcoming week's game, so to speak. But first thing we do want to talk about is we got an injury update on Tershawn Wharton.
NANI?
And as many of you have probably already seen, but if you haven't, it's not looking great, but it could be worse. I will say that. Could be worse. Could be far worse, but it's not looking good right now. As of right now, Tershawn Wharton is going to miss 2 to 4 weeks due to a hamstring injury that he suffered during the game. And with that in mind, Tershawn Robinson, who's listed as his backup, is going to be expected to be the starter this week versus Arizona. So how do I feel about Wharton's injury update? I'm really sad because he was one of the bright spots on our defense. Honestly, if you watched him during the game, his presence did make a difference. And when he was out of the game, it made even more of a difference. Like that just sucks. And I'm trying to see, and I've went back and rewatched the games, and I was trying to see when the injury occurred, like when the exact hamstring strain pull occurred. I couldn't find it. I'll rewatch it again because I'm probably missing something. But it sucks because he was paid to come in, be a force. He was a force. And then in the first week, he's missing games due to an injury. Now, maybe the weather delay possibly played part into that because everybody had to stop, get reacclimated, get rewarmed up, and that's what screwed him over. That is very much a possibility. However, I'm just sad because with Turk out, Tershawn is not as good. And it was very evident during the game that Tershawn Robinson was not Tershawn Wharton, and it showed. It showed mightily. So I'm real bummed out. Real bummed out. And we're going to see what changes will be made, what will happen. I hope he comes back sooner, and I hope it is only 2 weeks at the most. Get him back by week 4, and he's good for the rest of the season. But guys, yeah, that's the ins and out on Wharton right now and what we're looking at. So that really is a bummer. And next, just speaking of bummers and things like that, I do want to talk about this in terms of defense and honestly just coaching in general. The question has been asked by a lot of people, is the issue our players coaching? Is the issue our coaching, or is it the players executing? I've seen that going around on the internet throughout Panthers discourse. A lot of it is either one way or the other. Some people think it's both. I'm in that camp where I feel it is definitely both. But a lot of people I did see say, hey, I think it may be the coaching. And so we're going to take a look at the numbers. And according to the stats that have been listed, here's the thing. Over the past 18 games, the Coach Canales era, the Panthers defense has allowed 200 or more rushing yards 9 times, including 7 consecutive games. And in 35 games as defensive coordinator, Avero's rush defense has given up 120 rushing yards or more 26 times.
NANI?
Now, a lot of people are saying, why are we so hard on Avero? Why is everything on Avero? Because he didn't have this bad of a rush defense in Denver. He didn't. Now, do I take into account that losing Derrick Brown for one of those seasons plays a huge role? Absolutely. I'm not going to sit there and lie to y'all and say that. Losing Derrick Brown does play a difference because the first year Avero was here, defense was it was a top 15 defense. Brown actually had his best year the first year Avero was here. So it's not that it can't be done. It's the fact that it hasn't been done since then. And again, Losing Derek for all of 24 made a huge difference. It made, or not, 24, because this is the 25 season. Losing Derek for all of 2024 made a difference on the D-line. Cannot lie there. But as a coach, you are hired to adapt, and you are hired to overcome that. If I'm counting for that, Derek Brown being gone for all season, that's 17 games. That still doesn't equate to why we've given up 120 rushing yards 26 times. That still doesn't equate to why we've given up 200 rushing yards 9 times, including 7 consecutive games. There's no way. But Avero can only call so much on the field. He can dial up the right play call. He can dial up the right coverage. He can dial it up. And it's on the players to execute. If the players don't execute, he's going to get the flack for it. And the reason why coaches get the flack more than players is because that's the nature of the game. You're in charge. You're the head of the ship. You take the blame for it. Is it always fair? No. We'll be honest, it's not always fair. But in the military, in the civilian world, in life, like the team captain, the person who's in charge, the person who's overseeing that section takes the blame when stuff goes wrong. They own up to it when stuff goes wrong. And a lot of you will say that's the sign of a good leader who just says, hey, yo, that's on me. Like, accepting that blame. It's the hardest thing to do, and it's the hardest role to accept when you're a leader. When stuff goes good, it's the team. They did that. You had nothing to do with it. When stuff goes wrong, you have to be willing to take that blame and take that fire and understand why. Because at the end of the day, you're putting the players in these positions to execute. You're putting the players, this is your scheme they're trying to execute. This is your defense. This is your masterpiece. You're painting your vision. You're telling them to execute. And even if they execute it flawlessly, if it doesn't work, it comes back on you because you told them to be there. Even in wartime, if a general makes a call and says this is how we are going to flank our opposition, and they do it exactly the way the general does, but they get wiped out, how many of you are going to blame the individuals under that general, the subordinates? How many of you are going to blame them for the failure of that mission before you blame? But how many of you are going to blame the general who said that's the way we should go? You get what I'm saying? So, again, I'm in the boat of it's both. But I do see Avero is on the hot seat because of it. Because, bro, you were known to have a great defense. You were known that you've had a great defense 1 year here. But ever since then, it's just gone out the window. It seems like you haven't adapted. It seems like you haven't really adapted to the personnel that you've been given. And a lot of people say is because of that 3-4 scheme. Our personnel isn't built for a 3-4 scheme. It might be built for a 4-3 scheme. That may be the case. But if you're in this scheme and these are the numbers you're building up, you may want to make some changes. Avero, you may want to have a 4-3 scheme in your bag. You may want to adapt that for a while because Carolina just doesn't have the personnel to execute the 3-4 scheme the way you want. I don't know. I don't have all the answers. But I do know that because you are the defensive coordinator and you're the one telling the defensive players to be in these positions, you are going to get flack before the defensive players do. Once you're gone, if they're still doing the same thing, yeah, that's when it falls on the players because now we know, hey, it's not on Avero. It's just our players don't execute regardless of who's coaching them. So that's where I'm at. That's how I feel. I do think Avero is on the hot seat. However, players not executing is also a thing. That is very much also a thing. And then number 3, third thing I do want to address because y'all know y'all excited about it. Panther Pride Fantasy League update after week 1, man. I know y'all excited to see this. I know some of y'all excited. So, after week 1's games and matchups, here are the current standings. Ooh. Yep. So, I meant to put standings for this part, but it still says power rankings. I meant to put standings. My apologies. But right now, go getters. The Bryce is right. Skinny with 2 tats. Leave our mark. T-Mac Tutties and Better Call Hall are all 1-0. Horn Hub, Renfro Re-Up, S2, Rashad Grizzly Bowler, and Down Since 95, and myself, the Legend of Zelda, are all 0-1. And then not only that, the power rankings I think are honestly the best part y'all like to look at. So based off the power rankings of the ESPN app, last week, I posted the power rankings last week, and here are the power rankings as of this week. Go Getters is the number 1 team in the league, moving up from number 3. The Bryce is Right is number 2, moving up from 6. Skinny with 2 tats is number 3, moving up from 4. Leave Our Mark is number 4, moving up from 8. T-Mac Tutties is number 5, moving up from 10th. Better Call Hall is 6, moving up from 11th. Horn Hub drops from down to 7th from number 1. Renfro Re-Up drops number 8 from 5. S2 drops from 7 to 9. Rashad the Grizzly Bowler drops 10 from 9. Down 695 drops from 2 to 11, the biggest drop of the week. And then I stayed the same at 12. Crazy enough, what's even crazier is I actually, even though I lost this week, I didn't have the fewest points scored this week. That's what's crazier to me, that I'm number 12, even though I didn't have the fewest points scored in the week. Like, that's why I think that's kind of funny that I'm still 12. But hey, it is what it is. It's only week 1. It is only week 1, man. So I'm not even too concerned. And then our Panther freeze frame of the day. This beauty of JC Horn's catch right here, man. Loved it. It was beautiful. JC, man, as long as he's healthy, I'm telling y'all, he can ball out. As long as he's healthy, he can ball out. But now, it is time for Panther Nation to speak your truth. And so let's get into these comments, see what y'all talking about. And first comment comes up from Pat No Lackin 1261, says, it's hard for your defense to get stopped when they're constantly on the field. Just saying. Bryce's play isn't good enough. I would agree with that if the time of possession was like 6-7 minutes or greater. However, looking at the numbers, time of possession is 31 for the Jaguars, 29 for us. So that means we're on the field the same amount of time. Then not only that, we had fewer penalties. We had more third down conversions than them. Now, they had more first downs, and the turnover and total yards is really the difference. 3 turnovers to their 1, 255 total yards to their 378. So, to me, that's really is more so the execution. We were on the field about the same amount of time. It's just the fact that we could not execute. We could not execute the way we wanted to. And outside of that second quarter, the game was relatively stagnant and the same, because if you look at the quarters by score, first quarter, we got 3, they got 3. Third quarter, they got 0, we got 0. Fourth quarter, we get 7, they get 6. That second quarter is the difference maker in the entire game. We get nothing, they get 17. That's literally it. That's it. Hence why, yes, I am frustrated at the way that game played out, but I'm just looking at it from its totality. It's like, bro, we were relatively the same and doing a solid job, except for the second quarter. So I'm not going to blame it all on Bryce. I'm not. You got to look at the other receivers who didn't make catches. You got to look at our running backs who didn't show up. You got to look at our O-line, especially our center, who was throwing high snaps left and right. So if you want to sit there and blame Bryce, please blame everybody. Please blame everybody, bro. Like, I don't know. I don't know about that one. Second one comes from Jason Stevens, 25, says, if I'm being totally honest, anyone who thought we were going to come out on all cylinders was being very delusional. We all know that we needed more playing time during preseason, not just practices, to build real chemistry that one or two drives is not going to develop. Offense won't get it together until week 3, and the defense definitely needs work. I feel bad for Trey because on the comeback block, he got obliterated. I mean, yeah. I can see that. I did say, I was on record, say it is very possible for us to go undefeated in the first 5 games. I did say that. And I was also on the realistic record of being like, you know what? I expect us to go 3-2, maybe 4-1 in the first 5 games. That's where I've been at. Was it possible? Because anything's possible, bro. Anything's a possibility, to be truthful. So, yeah, was it possible for Carolina to go 5-0? Very possible. The likelihood and my realistic expectation, 3-2, maybe 4-1. So, I can see that, and that's a good take in my opinion. In my opinion, I like that take. Then number 3. I have little understanding about the nuances of, this comes from the Grunting Bear. My man says, I have little understanding about the nuances of play calling. Why do you say Dave's calls were vanilla? Also, why are people so hard on EE? I always thought it was wild to have a coach fired for the players' performances. I said Canales' play calling was vanilla because there were certain plays and certain runs I didn't agree with at certain times. For example, 4th and 1, you have Chuba Hubbard, and we're in the red zone. Why not, even if not Chuba Hubbard, why not just do a QB sneak with Bryce? He's small enough to sneak in under the line and get there. As much as y'all say how small he is, in that situation, being small is actually a benefit because they can't get to you and you can sneak under the line and get a first down. Or have Chuba push you from behind when we're in the red zone. There were certain play action passes and whatnot where I'm like, why are we doing this in this situation? Or it was very basic to where he wasn't trying to go hard and he wasn't trying to pull all the stops out of the bag. He didn't appear to me like he really wanted on certain play calls to, hey, let's really try them. Let's really make sure we're going at them. And then people are hard on EE for the reason I said earlier. When your defense has given up 200 rushing yards in 7 consecutive games, and in the last 9 games, in 7 consecutive games, and you've given up 120 rush yards in 26 games in your tenure, it starts to fall on you. Yes, the players have to execute, but the players are executing what you're telling them to execute, what you're coaching them up to do. So it's a heavy nuance to which one, but it can be misconstrued in a lot of ways. Like I said, if Avero goes and Carolina's still giving up rushing yards like this, then that's when you know, okay, it's on player execution, not Avero. So that's all of that. But guys, that's all I have for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell at the bottom so you can always be notified of when these videos are dropping. Next, comment below and let me know, what are your thoughts on Tershawn Wharton's injury? What are your thoughts about the coaching numbers that we talked about? Is it Avero? Is it the players? Is it both? And whatnot. And again, we got the fantasy league up. How do y'all feel about the updates? Who do you think is still going to win? Like, did y'all expect the fantasy rankings to look the way they did after week 1? And we'll keep those going update and everything else in between, because at the end of the day, what do I know? I'm just a skinny brother with 2 tats. Peace with all your Panther Nation. Take care. Later days. As always, keep pounding. I'll see you next.